Hey everyone. Hopefully your portfolio is doing okay today. I had a flat day, not too bad. No, actually I ended up a little bit down because SM Energy. Um, yeah. So uranium, if you guys are looking for undervalued investment opportunities, click subscribe, give me the thumbs up, do all that cool stuff. This is uranium. We're doing the technical analysis. I really like uranium. It's one of the areas that I continue to pile into, and I'm even piling into it now. Like I'm finding companies, I'm looking at them and I'm going, this chart pattern looks so insane that I have to buy some more. Some of these patterns look incredible on a long-term basis. Incredible. There's times I just sit there and stare at the chart because I'm like, this thing is insane. I'll let you know which one that is. You'll see it in this presentation at the end. But I'll go through, this is on a short term. Again, this is not financial advice. This is financial education. If you take anything from this presentation, please do your own due diligence. I don't want to have any responsibility for your financial losses, only your financial gains. All right, so let's jump in here. Let's look at uranium. We're going to go right into charting. All right. So first, I'm going to take a big picture view on URA. And I saw this from somebody was talking about URA. I saw this chart and I was like, it's a pretty cool chart. Look at this thing. This thing's coming down, and what I think is going to happen is it's going to come back up like it came back down similarly. The volume over here is massive. The volume is speaking volumes. It is saying that people are buying the living POOP out of this, the living poop. So I think this is going to go higher, quite a bit higher, and it looks really good. Camco Corporation. Now, we've got this wedge pattern, this good old wedge coming here. And I don't know if it closed here, but it's right at the tip. Could this break down for a little bit of a pullback? It could. Could it go up and break out of this pattern to the upside? It could. Let's watch and see what this thing does. It's right there, coiled up right at the tip. Usually on an ascending wedge pattern like this, they like to break to the downside. That is the statistical probability. But we've got money flowing into this sector. We'll see what happens. Denison Mines. And again, I did this midday, draw the line across. It broke to the upside, pulled back, and I bet you we're going to see an up day today, maybe even a big up day. But it's looking good. It's looking good. Nothing's broken. You can draw this pattern in here. It broke to the upside and it looks fine. There's nothing wrong here. Here's UEC. You can draw the lower portion right here. It's at the lower end of the pattern. It's trying to break to the upside of this pattern here. I think it'll probably eventually break to the upside. And if these break to the upside, means CCJ will break to the upside, right? Hopefully. Here's Uranium Royalty Corporation. I threw the trend line down here, contacting the bottom here. We had a little wick on the bottom. Usually this kind of comes up. It's been pretty sticky. We may come back a little bit more one last time, do like a little double bottom. Someone said this could be a shoulder, head, shoulder developing. It could be. The only thing that I look at these charts, I look at them from a huge slant that's favorable for uranium to go higher because I look at the big charts and the big chart looks like that. I don't think this is just going to reverse very hard and come back. And this pattern would be a pretty big pattern for a head and shoulders pattern if you take it from this bottom here as a shoulder and a head and then a shoulder that's going to develop. I don't think that's necessarily the right way to look at it, especially with the valuations where uranium's at. And if uranium price goes higher, I think they're going to move with it. So I'm looking at it from the jaded view that this is probably going to be a short-term bottom, and that buying and accumulating in this area by this trend line is probably a good low risk, high probability bet. And eventually we'll probably break this downtrend line coming through here. That's the hope. Here's Global Atomic. I said we might see a little pullback here. We saw a little pullback. This is just a teeny pullback of a couple days. And then we got a nice reversal here with a hammer pattern. Hopefully it ended with a hammer pattern and will probably move higher. And that's all it is, guys. I'm saying little pullbacks is all we're getting here. None of these pullbacks have been massive. Gobiax. Go Gobiax. This thing's looking pretty good. Hopefully it ended strong. Draw the trend line in, right? The pattern here. I think it's forming basically a flag pattern. It came up trying to break through here, and I think we'll see this move up, creating a cup pattern as well. So it's working. It's putting in the work. Here's deep yellow. We've got a cup and handle pattern, and it's just resting there before it moves higher, I think. Bannermen, same thing. This is like a cup, the big handle back here, and then we're just resting. It's got some resistance and sellers up here. Here's Forces Metals. I threw this in. It's kind of coming across. It's resting and contracting up in a dead period. I bet you we're going to see this move higher soon. We're resting on the 50-day. Here's Forum Energy Metals. Here was a support line. We broke through. We came back. Everyone's going to be like, no, I should sell my shares. It's a breakout to the downside. Watch this thing reverse and go higher. I've seen this happen. It's happened to me. This is when it left me out of the market last time during the last commodity bull market. It was a setup very similar to this. It kind of came down. You're like, no, sell it. And then boom, it just rockets higher. And you're like, no, I don't want to be out of it when it rockets higher. But I'm in it. I'm just holding on. Centrus Energy. Draw in the upper part of this pattern. I just drew the upper part. It's resting up there. Low risk spot to buy some if you like LEU, because usually this provides very good support, and eventually it goes on higher and moves higher and creates a launching pad or something to jump off of. This support line or resistance line is now a support line. It's going to jump off this and go eventually. Be patient. Purepoint Uranium Group. Draw in the pattern here that it's creating at 12 cents. It wants to break. Let's see if it breaks. We're getting all these little triangle patterns setting up. We could see a big move higher in uranium overall. Canalaska, we're just kind of moving in this uptrend. It looks really good. Looks good. Baseload. So what did Baseload do? You put the pattern in, broke out, back tested, and I bet you we're going to move higher soon. Sky Harbor. Sky Harbor's moving on up. We're in an uptrend. Looks good. Could even be a cup and handle pattern developing. We've got Standard Uranium. It's coiling up. All these guys are coiling up. I'm in it to win it, and I'm in it before it takes off. Boss Energy. We've got a pile up on this resistance line here, and we've got low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Higher lows are stepping up into this. It's going to break through it, I think. So Boss Energy could be one to look into. Paladin Energy, it is maintaining its upward trend. Looks good. Aizencourt, exploration company, much smaller exploration company up in Canada. Usually these things pull all the way back and about to the top of here. We did this right here. Blew higher, pull back. It's still in there. It's coiling up. Coiling up, ready to break to the upside. UEXDF, another company I like, broke to the upside of its pattern. Looking good. ALX Uranium, a small exploration company, broke to the downside, probably a false breakout since nothing's really going down in uranium. So here it goes on. It was up 18.75% when I pulled this, and it's popping back into the pattern, ready to break to the upside. Fission Uranium's coiling up. Look at this thing. Coil, coil, coil. Boom. Moving higher probably. And here's Fission 3.0. We've got a resistance line through here. Seems like it's pretty strong. Broke the downtrend to the upside, and now we're flirting with this resistance line. Break through it. Or not if you want to buy more. URG, not much to say here. I mean, we had a little pattern that broke here, kind of bowled up, but we're moving to the upside in an upward trend line or upward pattern. Nextgen's doing the same thing as CCJ, Camco. We're kind of coming into this little pattern and tip right here. We'll see which way it breaks. I'm just waiting. The Blue Sky is the one that I keep looking at its chart going, my Lord, this thing looks good. And I just keep sprinkling money into it. I can't stop myself, guys. I can't. It's like an addiction. I have an addiction to adding to Blue Sky because of its chart pattern. So here's the short-term chart pattern. It came up, we broke this kind of downtrend line to the upside. It's just sitting there resting. And everyone's probably like, it's not going anywhere. I don't like it. And I need it to go higher in my account and make it, make me money. I know, guys, I get it. But I'm sitting here looking at this thing. This is called the kind of a dead period. It just sits there a little bit. Everybody loses interest. The volume kind of goes down like it has. But if you look at this big pattern here, this big pattern is magnificent. It's massive. And it just, everything about this, the way this thing looks coming down, the way it contracts, the way it comes up and contracts and contracts and contracts. And it was going to do a dead period right here. COVID sold this off. So omit COVID. COVID was a fluke. And it came all the way to the corner here. Got a little overbought, came back into the pattern, and then popped higher. And now it's pulling back a little bit and resting. And I don't know what it is about this pattern here. It's let me try something here. What if I do something like this? It goes like back all the way like that. And you see that pattern? This is a big boy. This goes back into the mid 2000s. And it broke to the upside here. And the volume, look at the volume down here, everyone. Look at the volume. Look at that. Look at this volume. It's massive. You've got a ton of volume. You have a pattern that's like, I don't know how far back that goes, but I mean, this is a big pattern. It's massive. And remember, the bigger the pattern, the bigger the move. And guys, I just look at this. Okay, so here's something. So let's say this pattern's the bottom here, okay? I'm gonna move myself over here. And I'm getting this. This is why I'm so excited. I'll try to explain it as best I can. I'm gonna copy one of these lines here and get you a projection here. If the bottom of this pattern's down here, and we go all the way up, and let's say the top of the pattern's up here, like something like this, and this is the price projection, and you were to do something like that, and they could have diluted shares, and the price projection's wrong. They very well could have. Okay, I'm not saying that that's necessarily the price projection. It's just rare to see the volatility be this big and the moves be so large, consolidate all the way up to a point in 15 years. 15 years, it consolidates all the way to the point, breaks to the upside, sits there. And I know you guys want to see things move very quickly, but if you are very patient, I don't know, there's just something about this Blue Sky. I'm not telling you guys to load up. This is a small company. It's a very speculative company, very small, high risk. But I keep adding a little bit in. I'm gonna get a good chunk of money in there. Not a ton. I'm not doing SM Energy amount, because I put, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15 grand in that one in the beginning. This one's going to be more, 4 or 5 grand, something like that. So something where if it takes off, and that's kind of what my positions are in a lot of these exploration companies. I've kind of been piling in, and then I overweighted Encore Energy, Deep Yellow, Baseload, and all these other ones. So those are kind of my favorite picks. There's a lot that look really good here in the uranium sector. They look very good. And I just keep looking at some of these charts on the big long-term perspective, and I'm amazed at what it looks like. I'm at a loss of words. I'm dumbfounded. I keep looking at them, not believing that they're this big and this gigantic. And a lot of them, they just broke out to the upside, or they're just kind of turning up. Guys, we are at the beginning of this. This is exciting. It is nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking that, I'm trying to do all this information for everyone that's on the channel, and I want you guys to win. And it's nerve-wracking for me because I know what these things look like. They blow my mind. And I want you to know what they look like. I want you to understand it. And I don't know how to do that. And on the short term, these things can be very volatile. You can see 30, 40% pullbacks. That's why I cost average in slowly. to reduce my risk, to reduce my volatility. These are going to be very volatile. Slowly accumulate them. That's my plan. Until I hit what I consider to be a good stake in each of these companies, slowly accumulate, and then eventually they'll just track higher. And it will make your portfolio, hopefully, a good amount of money. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comment section. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.